It's Prince Harry who must change. The Duke's betrayal to royal family devastated him. If Prince Harry wants things to change, he needs to change. Prince Harry's strange claim to have warned Twitter's Jack Dorsey about looming insurrection at the Capitol in January is highly embarrassing for the Queen, a royal commentator has suggested. Prince Harry's extraordinary claim to have foreseen what everyone else didn't see was made at an event about the dangers of internet lies, gossip and fake news. He blasted the media in general and lashed out at UK publications. I learned from a very early age the incentives of publishing are not necessarily aligned with the incentives of truth, he said. From their mansion in the hills above Santa Barbara, Harry and Meghan now see themselves as warriors in a war for truth and decency. But what they are actually fighting is the bad personal publicity they have received since cutting ties with Britain. Few royal couples have been as popular as the Sussexes were on their wedding day. The crowds were 12 deep for the carriage drive through Windsor. Mr. Sacerdote told, "I think it's interesting that he said he was in direct contact with Jack Dorsey, giving him political advice. There's been criticism of Meghan for getting involved in politics, and now we are seeing the possibility that Prince Harry himself has been getting involved." He added, "I think that the idea that he is some sort of political advisor is interesting. What's also quite interesting is that he says that that's the last time he ever heard from Jack Dorsey. I'm not sure why they would be taking political advice or even business advice from Prince Harry." Mr. Sacerdote said it was definitely strange for the prince to be offering opinions about US politics and the role of Twitter, given the Queen's convention of refusing to get involved in politics, which she has adhered to throughout her 70-year reign. He explained, "Members of the royal family are not meant to get involved in giving political advice. Whether he likes it or not, having stepped back from being a working royal, Harry is still connected to the British royal family. And it is still potentially highly embarrassing for them for that sort of thing to be out in the public." Mr. Sacerdote said, "As ever with Harry, it's not clear why he would be a particularly useful advisor on that issue anyway. I understand that he and Meghan think they are influential people in these discussions, and they think that because they feel that social media and traditional media have negatively impacted their own lives and that they speak from a position of experience in that respect. I understand all that. But I don't necessarily think that leaves them particularly well qualified to discuss politics and Twitter. Especially not in the context that he was mentioning. The news media were united in welcoming them as a breath of fresh air. But when they decided to turn their backs on Britain, public opinion changed and the press reflected that, as it always will. It's perfectly natural to dislike bad publicity. Most people like to be liked and admired. But it's not how a free press operates. The freedom of the press protects all our liberties. It comes with the privilege to praise but also the solemn duty to criticize those elected to high office or set above us, when criticism is due. Prince Harry has castigated media criticism of his wife as unfair. To his credit, he wants to shield Meghan. But when you give too long television interviews in which you freely criticize your relatives, then you are inviting a dose of your own medicine.